Hello, my name's Kathy Bissell. Welcome to the Golf Show 2.0. Today we have some guys who are really hot. Gary, do you want to introduce them before they burn up?
Well, not now. You just stole my line, so I have to rewrite. We've got Jon Skaggs, the PGA pro at Furnace Creek Golf Course, and we've got Don Forehope, the golf superintendent. Furnace Creek is at 214 feet below sea level. It's the lowest golf course in the world, I believe, and if it's not the hottest, it's got to be the second hottest. Guys, I know the obvious question, but you get it all the time. You're in Death Valley. The Oasis at Death Valley is the resort. Everybody wants to know, how hot is it?
Well, currently, I think we're probably barely even 90 right now.
Really? Well, it's early in the morning out there still.
Yeah.
But I mean, in general, when it's hot in the summertime, how hot is it? What does it feel like?
Well, in the summer, Don's outside most of the time early, and we encourage our golfers to play early in the morning. We only limit like our 18-hole tee times right now. The last time someone could make to play 18 holes would be 9:40 a.m. and we would expect them to be off the course in less than 4 hours. And if they want to play, someone just wants to play 9 holes, the last time would be like 11:52. Again, we'd want them done in less than 2 hours for 9 holes. And usually they would play quick enough to get done that quick, because the later they go, the hotter it is.
What's the hottest you play golf?
We're at 4 a.m., so we usually work from 4 a.m. to about 12:30. And there's days we come in and it's already 105 at 4 a.m. And there's a lot of times we'll leave work at 12:30 and it'll already be 118, 120.
Okay, thank you. That's what I wondered. I lived in the La Quinta area near Palm Springs for 10 years. And I remember rooting for my digital car thermometer to get to 120, and it did one day. And I think it was in August, but it may have been July. July is usually the hottest part of the year, I think. How about for you? Is it the hottest part for you?
Well, I've been out here as high as 130, and
okay.
Not a pleasant day, let me tell you.
No.
A lot of times in summer, it's usually when we have our equipment failures due to heat. Even though they're air cooled, it doesn't matter. Our hydraulics will overheat, mowers will go down, blow lines, electrical. It's just part of the climate during summer.
Yep. But the rest of the year,
if you climb onto a mower with a metal seat, it might be too hot to sit on it.
Well, we do have lights on our equipment, and then we have covers for all of our mowers. So hopefully nobody's in real direct heat during summer. But we do drive around and make sure that everybody's got water, everybody's staying cool, just to monitor their vitals to see that, if they're feeling weak or you're getting discolorment in their face and their pigment, then we just go ahead and pull them aside, have them cool off. We take cool down breaks. So a lot of it in summer is clearly just maintaining your staff, making sure that they're safe and that, there's no health issues.
Well, that's good. That's great that you are able to do that. Now, if I remember correctly, reading information about the resort, there is an actual oasis out there where water comes up out of the ground, and I mean, it's not a fake thing. You're not trucking it in from somewhere. There is water coming up, and that's one reason you're able to have the resort there.
Oh yeah. The golf course is irrigated by both our swimming pools. We have a pool at the inn at our 5 Diamond, and then we have one down here at the ranch. They both flow through pools, so the water is consistently coming through the pool, out of the pool, onto the golf course. So that's how we irrigate the golf course.
Okay. That's interesting. It's the first time I've ever heard that done. I'm a big lap swimmer, so that could be an interesting visit for me. I'd go swimming while other people play golf.
Yeah, well, our water comes out about 86 degrees, so okay. Both our pools are they're sustained throughout winter and summer. But even though they're 86, when you get out and it's 120, it still feels cool.
Yes, it does.
John, you've got to have golfers there who they really want to test their endurance or test the limits. They want to see what it's like and want to play in the middle of the afternoon in the summer. Do you let them? And if they do, have you found any of them? Did they make it around?
No, we do limit about the tee time starting, and we don't allow walking of the golf course in the summertime with carrying the bag or even using a pull cart. So electric golf carts, so they can get around, and they have roofs on them. We've got plenty of our tamarisk trees around the course so they can get some shade while they're playing, take advantage of the shade. And then we have water stations out on the golf course, so they can refill water bottles. And we're constantly asking people, do you have water with you? Do you have drinks with you? We'll provide them some ice if they need, if they have or even a small cooler bag, so they can go out there on the course and stay cool. We did have a group from Netherlands about a month ago that came in about 11:30, and we thought they could play 18 holes at that time. I guess they didn't check our website or call in advance. I told them, even if you had went at 9:40, we would have asked you, pay for 9 holes and see how it goes after 9, and then pay for the second 9 after your round, if you decided to keep going. But one of the players didn't even make 9 holes, so they came up to get into our restaurant area and cool down, and we had someone from our security office come down and check that they were okay and their vitals. And he was starting to get a little hot out there, even with drinking water. They just weren't used to this much heat.
Is that the reason a lot of your golfers who visit from around the world come? I mean, it's a unique name. Everyone knows the name Death Valley. It's the lowest elevated course, the heat. There's a lot of curiosity to see what kind of a golf course is there. Is that a big draw for your guests?
Well, of course, with the national park here and Badwater, the lowest place in North America at 282 feet below sea level, our golf course rests at 214 feet below sea level. There are a number of people who stay at the resort year round. We do get a lot of Europeans and people from Australia, New Zealand, and other areas of the country that come on what they call their holiday time, their vacation time, and many of them do come in the summer. And then some don't even know we have a golf course till they arrive on property. So we do have rental clubs for people to rent before going out and playing as well. But those that plan in advance, we do tell them, hey, bring some golf balls with you, bring a towel, maybe a cooling towel, things like that. Plenty of water, plenty of electrolyte type drinks, sports drinks that can help them. And be prepared ahead of time. Don't just start drinking right as you're teeing off on the first hole. Prepare yourself by drinking extra fluids the day before and the morning of.
This sounds like the only golf course when I play around I can finally say, hey, my putter is hot.
That's right. Everything would be hot.
Oh yeah.
When I go out and play and I don't use my vinyl or leather head covers on my woods, on my metal woods. In the summer, I use my, like a cloth style or something that go, but I'll also wet a towel and put over my woods, because just the radiant heat, you grab that driver head, if it's just been sitting out in the sun, it's pretty warm to the touch.
Do you put towels down on the golf cart seats?
As needed.
Okay.
If you take advantage of the shade and park there, definitely it's nice. I know when I go out, I usually have a towel with me for that. But yes,
we're giving people all kinds of tips for how to survive really hot weather. The good thing is that the golf ball goes farther in hot weather, and this is about as hot as you're going to get.
Yeah, but not at Death Valley, right, John?
Except here in Death Valley, where
Really?
the air is denser below sea level. If I play over in Los Angeles or Bakersfield area or Northern California when I grew up in the Bay Area, I'm at least a half club shorter here in terms of carry distance compared to like Las Vegas. I'm a club to club and a half shorter compared to about 2,500 to 3,000 foot elevation. Up in Lake Tahoe,
Yeah.
If you played up there and then came down here or up at Flagstaff, Arizona or Sedona and then come here and play, you're going to lose a club to 2 clubs in distance.
Oh, I thought that the what I'd call the regular desert, the Palm Springs area, I found my golf ball traveled farther there, but it's just right at sea level. It's, I
Correct.
think La Quinta's at 14 and a Palm Springs might be something between 100 and 200 feet above sea level. Kind of all goes up from the Salton Sea. But, okay, that's an interesting local phenomenon. Can you tell us how hard is it to grow grass in those conditions, or how easy?
Well, everything is reliant on our water, because my pump house that irrigates the golf course also irrigates all the landscaping at the ranch. So I've got to be real tactical on the times that I water and when I start watering. You don't want to water when it's 120 and have outstanding puddles, and you're doing more harm than you're doing good. So a lot of it do at night. So we usually start our cycle once sundown hits between 7 p.m., roughly 4 a.m. So we've got a 9-hour window where we can actually get the water down.
Wow. And do you enjoy living there?
Well, I was born and raised here, so
Okay.
I'm kind of acclimated to it.
Yeah.
I've been golfing this golf course for 42 years now, so I've seen it when it was, 90% dirt before they had the redesign in '96. So, I'm well versed in this golf course, but with it being, push up, everything around here is just native soil. So what you have in one area, the soil's not as consistent as it is in another area. So you've got to treat every hole a little bit differently.
Wow.
So John, when you water, just because of the heat and how long it's hot for months at a time, do you have to water really almost every square where there's grass? Is that somewhere you have to water all the time, or it's going to go away? Or how difficult is it to sustain this during the summer?
Well, with it being regular common Bermuda, except for our greens, Bermuda grass is really resilient. So
Yes.
if you miss a couple days, it will go yellow. But because it's Bermuda, if you just hammer it, it'll grow back. Historically, we go dormant in October, from October to about February. But because of climate change, our dormancy window has shrunk drastically. So when I first started 13 years ago, we'd go dormant 3 months. And then as the years went on, it went to 2.5 months, 2 months, month and a half. Last season, we didn't even go full dormant. The only thing that went dormant, 90%, was our greens. Everything else just kind of lightened up.
Explain to everyone what that means. For a golfer, what are they going to see?
Yeah, so when your grass goes dormant out here, especially Bermuda, what it'll do is it'll turn yellow. So it'll look like it's dead, but it won't be dead. It'll kind of be going to sleep. So it'll turn yellow. Normally what we'll do is we'll treat it. We'll use turf colorant to color the greens, fairways, tees, to give it that distinction. So you'll see green on the fairways, tees, and greens, and then the rough will all be yellow. So when somebody comes out to play it, you'll be like, oh, it's really green. Well, the grass is dormant, but last year we didn't need to use colorant because by the time our season kicked in, it was already starting to turn green again. So
What is your season? What's your high season? And I always assume that the summer is the low season.
Oh yeah, that's definitely our low season. Usually our season starts in October. It goes from October to around May, around Mother's Day. Once those temperatures hit 115, that's when our golf play drops drastically.
Do you change the rates for the
Oh, yeah.
summer? Okay.
Yes, we have our lowest rates of the year in the summer from, let's say, Memorial Day to Labor Day. And then in October and in the middle of September through the end of September, the rates go up a little bit. It's as we start getting cooler weather. And then from October until Mother's Day, we're at our highest rates, but our highest rate is still less than $100 for for a round of golf
Wow.
for 18 holes, including a cart. $78.58 or 50 cents currently. $78.50 per person is our current rate. And then we do have military discounts and sort of stuff too. And anybody interested can certainly go to our website, oasis@deathvalley.com. And then there's a golf tab and it has our rate chart on there. And they can get our phone number and call the golf shop. And if they get our message machine, because we work limited hours during the summer, if they call in the afternoon, we're not here to answer phones. We will call them back.
Don, you're located in Death Valley, inside of the Funeral Mountains and Coffin Peak. I know it sounds like great fun. You've got to have some guests, some visitors who come there, and when you tell them how hot it, what they got to do to stay safe and all that, you've got to have some doubting Thomases.
They're amazed that we have water, and then we tell them that's why we're called the Oasis at Death Valley. It is truly an oasis here with the natural spring water that waters it. And all the names of the different things kind of give it that Death Valley name or the feel of death, but we're Furnace Creek and the Oasis at Death Valley. And so we like to look at the positives of being in here, especially when in other areas of the country in the wintertime, when they've got cold weather and they're in snow and there's seasonal golf and they can't play from, let's say, November through April, they can come down here to Death Valley at Furnace Creek Golf Course and play golf in shorts and shirts. And there's the occasional morning where we do get pretty cool in the mid to high 30s, but even people from Wisconsin and Montana and the Dakotas will be wearing shorts in the morning because they say compared to back home, it's a lot warmer here.
Well, I think all the names of those places, I think nowadays we would just call that good branding. You're on brand. I like it.
It is very good. Do you have any special tournaments that you have in the summer or tournaments you have in the winter?
Well, we don't currently have any special tournaments in the summertime organized, just regular play. We'll get some groups from Las Vegas and other areas that come out and play when maybe they're doing green maintenance at their course or there's some other thing going on and they'll make the trek to come out here, maybe stay a night or two at the resort and play. And then we get people from, again, other areas of the world and the country that come here year round. In the summertime with the heat, yes, getting them out early is the important thing, and then they can go enjoy the pool or go to the visitor center where it's air conditioned or back to their room, and then plan their trip accordingly because the sunsets around here and certainly the early morning sunrises are so beautiful throughout the park.
Wow.
And stargazing at night is an amazing
it's going to be
thing.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
Don, what was the worst kind of conditions you ever had to go to work in? And I'm not thinking just heat, but occasionally, I don't know how much rain you get per year, but if you get a lot at once,
Yeah,
it could have been bad. What have you had to put up with?
well, we've had 4-day windstorms in summer, gusting between 50, 60, gusts up to 75. Total brownout. You can't see your hand in front of your face. Trees coming down left and right. So when it comes to safety issue, we just call it. It's just you can't be out there. I mean, you're just getting blasted. Our thunderstorms that we've had the last 2 years. We had the hurricane last August, knocked out our roads, knocked out our power.
Okay.
So you're stuck on the property basically. You can't get in, you can't get out. You have no electricity, you have no cell service. So as a community, we really band together and kind of take care of each other. So just being here when it's 120 and you have no power and no AC, that could really make it for a bad week.
Well, that used to be considered a life-threatening emergency when I lived in the desert, and you would call the air conditioning people or something, say your AC was out, and they'd be there before the end of the day because they considered it a health risk.
Yeah, because
Go ahead.
we've only got two-way ins and two-way out. If both those roads go out, there's nothing you can do.
Yep.
Especially like if one of our power poles go out and it's blowing 50, 60 miles an hour, the helicopters can't fly out to put the new poles in. If it's over 130 and there's a medical emergency, they can't fly helicopters because they can't get the updraft
Right.
helicopter in the air. So it's
Yep.
part of it is we're real reliant on the National Park Service for emergency situations.
Oh, I bet.
John,
that's
how
people
about
don't think
the,
about that.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Gary.
I was going to ask John about what you had to have heard some stories about unusual rounds or unusual shots that some of your players talk about after the round. Can you recall one or two unusual things that your guests have had happen?
Well, what I hear from a number of people is with our coyotes. They were some of our original settlers here in Death Valley, but the coyotes out on the course, they've been known to pick up golf balls. I think Don has witnessed that when he's been out playing. I haven't seen one grab one of my golf balls yet, but I've had a number of our guests tell me that a coyote has grabbed it, played with it, went into the bushes with it, and they lost a ball that way from a coyote. One of our employees here, one of our postal employees, we have a post office here in Death Valley in Furnace Creek. She plays golf, and she was out on the course, and I think she had some food items in her purse. The coyote actually came and grabbed her purse and ran away with it. It did drop it, so they were able to get the purse back. So that's a couple interesting things that have happened out there.
Yeah, the worst is when the coyotes have their litter, when they, den and you won't see coyotes, for a month or so. And then, because like I said, we start real early in the morning, and that's usually when they're active. It's sunrise and sunset.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time they bring out their little pups, there could be a dozen of them, there could be 18 of them. They'll take tea towels, they'll take flags, they'll take anything they can get their hands on, tee markers. If you have an irrigation hole or you have a lid open, they'll destroy it. I mean, that's just their nature. They're very curious. Anything that your human hands touch, they can smell. So immediately they think it's a toy, and they'll take off with valve lids, golf balls, towels, I mean, you name it. And it's devastating for a little while because they'll chew through anything. I mean, they're just playing. And so we're constantly replacing ball washing towels, tee signs, any rope, any chains you have up, they'll take it immediately.
Sounds just like 2-year-old kids chewing through things, taking anything curious.
Oh yeah.
Only with teeth.
Oh yeah.
I think it's interesting. As I would encourage people to go to your website and watch some of the videos. But
Beautiful.
as a Midwesterner, you just think Death Valley, you think desert, and I'm expecting to see just a bunch of rocks, kind of like like a lot of places in Vegas. You got trees, you got grass. It's pretty. It's not what I thought my mental image of Death Valley and the skull of the old Longhorn there. And wasn't there a TV show, Death Valley Days?
Oh yeah.
We've got a bad image from TV of not a wrong image of what Death Valley looks like. So I thought that the stuff on your website was nice. Your holes look pretty interesting. Tell us about, John, what's one of your signature holes?
Well, number 2, our par 3, the second hole on the course, is located right next to one of our holding ponds for watering the course. So people get out there and realize there is water. They're surprised to see water features out on our course in the desert. But that's the water we use for irrigation. So at least that water's not right on the first hole, so you get a warm-up hole before you have to hit over the water. But that's one of our challenging holes. And then we've got our number 1 and 2 handicap holes, the par 4s, number 6 and number 11 respectively. They've got our salt cedar trees, which are also referred to as tamarisk trees. They're not native
Okay.
to Death
All right.
Valley or the United States. But there's those trees right in the left third of each of those fairways. So it makes the fairway play narrower. So you really have to hit a good drive on those holes to give you an opportunity to be able to get to the green into.
Well, the resort area, when I saw it, I was reminded of La Quinta Hotel, which was built in the early 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
And it had a similar style, exterior, interior, especially all of the tile work and whatnot. And it just kind of put me back to the time when I was living out in the desert. And I thought, well, this is going to be really interesting to see this. But without that spring that comes up out of the middle of nowhere, you wouldn't be able to have this resort at all. It's kind of a miracle of nature.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Well, Gary,
Don,
when are you going to go
Don-
play?
I was going to say, Don can tell you that his ancestors were the original human settlers of Death Valley.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm a tribal member. I'm a Temishi Shoshone member, so I don't
Okay.
actually live on property. I live on our homeland, which is about 1/8 of a mile south of the property.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
And which tribe again? Shoshone?
Temishi Shoshone.
Okay. Well, that's interesting, fascinating.
I was going to say, when Kathy was talking about the other course being developed in the 1920s, I mean, she was there helping him do that, so she's quite an expert on that.
So awful.
That's pretty bad. I also want to ask John, then we'll let you guys go. Your course, people are going to look at the scorecard and go 6,250 yards approximately. You're below sea level. What would you say that equates to at sea level, or what length would that equate to for the average person?
Well, with there only being 2 par 5s, we're a par 70. So that also makes the course play a little bit longer, just because it doesn't have the par 5s. That would add a couple hundred yards to that total. Definitely it plays like a 67 to 6,800 yard course, I would say, somewhere like that at par 70. So if we were a par 72, we're talking close to a 7,000 yard course from the back tees.
Fascinating. All kinds
Not
of things
interesting
you have
stuff.
to
It
do.
makes me want to come out there and play, and I'm going to try to do that, and maybe in October.
There you go.
And that's a good time. We start getting some cooler mornings, and the late afternoons, you can actually go out and play and not feel like as much a heat effect as we get in the summer.
I always say August is terrible every place and October is good every place. So I would think being in Death Valley in October would be a great time of year. Gentlemen, thank you so much. It's been fascinating to hear about having a golf course at what we would ordinarily think is a place you wouldn't ever want to go to, but you're living there, you're enjoying it. It's a beautiful facility, and I encourage everybody to go.
Well, in 2.5 years from now, we'll have our 100th anniversary of golf in Death Valley. The Furnace Creek Golf Course originally started with 3 holes in 1927. Then in 1931, it expanded to 9 holes. And then in 1968, became an 18-hole championship course. Billy Bell came in and did the redesign then and added the additional 9 holes. And then Perry Dye, the son of Pete Dye. And Pete Dye did the La Quinta Mountain course and the Dunes course at La Quinta Resort and Club. But Perry Dye came in 1997. That's when Don said he got to see the course stripped of the turf. They put in an automatic irrigation system at that time. Prior to 1997, I'm sure, Don, you witnessed that it was manually watered.
Well, you can do that. It just takes a long time.
Oh, yeah.
2.5 years, we'll have our 100th anniversary. So I'm sure we're going to be doing something special for that.
Cool.
Well,
I mentioned the website, John. Why don't you say it for the viewers? What's the name of the website?
Oasis at deathvalley.com. And the AT for at is spelled out, not the at symbol, but
Okay.
oasis@deathvalley.com.
Thank
Well,
you.
it sounds like fun. Death Valley. Check it out.